Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly trucking news roundup where we take a look at the top trucking stories hitting our industry this week. It's Sunday, March 23rd, and this week I have a packed lineup for you, from toll disputes in New York to new tools for vetting brokers, regulatory shakeups, and what truckers are asking the government to fix. Plus, of course, we'll dig into how this affects us in the industry and what it means for the future. So let's start rolling through the headlines. Ready? Let's go! All right, first on our list is a big story out of New York that's got truckers talking. A standoff between the US Department of Transportation and New York over congestion pricing tolls. According to Landline, the Federal Highway Administration told New York to stop collecting those tolls by March 21st, which is just a few days ago. This program, which is called the Central District Tolling Program, charges drivers entering parts of Manhattan to reduce congestion. But here's the kicker. New York seems to be digging in its heels, and all signs point to them pushing forward despite the Fed's orders. So truckers hauling into Manhattan or parts of Manhattan could face higher costs in the form of those tolls. So the question now is, will it stick? Well, with the federal government and the state being at odds, there's definitely a lot of uncertainty. Next, we have some good news for a change. You guys know Highway. This is the program that a lot of brokers use in order to set up carriers. Well, according to Landline, they just rolled out a new feature for carriers where carriers can now vet brokers. Think of it like a background check for the freight brokers you're planning to work with, so you don't end up in a double brokering situation or hauling for a broker that is not gonna pay you after you deliver the load. Now, obviously, being a curious person, I decided to check it out. I went to Highway, logged into my account, and decided to search up a few brokers. And I'm sorry to say, the system is very underwhelming. It gives some general information about the broker's size, whether they're approved by Triumph Pay, and their affiliations. I would say there is one tool that they offered that could be useful, which is the Secure Communications tool, which shows you which emails you can expect a rate confirmation to come from. We know that a lot of fraudsters will take an email of a brokerage, make a slight change, and it seems like that broker is sending you the rate confirmation when in reality you have just been a victim of fraud. There's another semi-useful tool. It applies to certain brokers where when you enter in the brokerage on Highway, it will tell you that, hey, this broker has the same phone number as these entities or the same address as these entities. Now, this could definitely save you from a double brokering situation, but something to remember is that certain brokers, like for example, R&R Express, they have different branches, so they're flagged as a fail at the moment because they have shared phone numbers among those branches. But yeah, check it out if you have an account with Highway and if you have been getting set up with brokers using that system. It doesn't cost anything extra. And let me know what you think. Now we're going to shift gears to Washington, D.C., where an OOIDA board member decided to deliver a message for lawmakers straight from the cab. Because truckers don't really have a seat at the table, real truckers, when it comes to regulations being pushed out, OOIDA is the group that ends up representing us. So what was discussed? Well, number one, there was truck parking and the safety risks the lack of it poses not just for the trucker, but also for the general public. Then there was the trucker bathroom access, which basically aimed to reinforce an existing bill to ensure that shippers and receivers make their existing bathrooms available to truckers picking up or delivering loads at their facilities, and of course also overtime pay for truckers. So what does that mean for you? Well, in a perfect world, that would mean better policies for you, but unfortunately we do not live in a perfect world, and Congress is known to be slower than a snail. So basically it's one of those news where you have to keep an eye out and keep checking in on the situation of these issues. Nevertheless, it is nice to know that there is a group like the OOIDA day that is fighting for truckers' rights. Next, we have a public service announcement and a quick heads up. Watch your phones. Landline Media reported that the DOT is warning everyone about this new scam going around where you get a text message about unpaid tolls. Now, the messages look somewhat legit, official sounding language, links, but what they're doing is fishing for your money or info. Now, obviously, truckers are prime targets because we face toll expenses every single day pretty much. Click that link though and you're handing those scammers your bank information or worse. So my advice, do not click any links that you are unsure of. Instead, go to official websites in order to figure out whether you have accrued some tolls. Has this happened to you already? For those of you who are not sure what to look out for, I'm going to show you the text messages I have been receiving over and over again. It has happened to me multiple times, so I'm going to share with you a few messages right now here. Take a look at them or pause the video because this is what you want to be looking out for. Stay sharp out there. Next, we're moving to Overdrive, who reported a story on what happened within the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Acting administrator that we just talked about a few weeks ago, Adrienne Kammerer, stepped down this week. Now, there's no word on who is replacing her, but it comes at a tricky time, with regulations such as speed limiter rules and driver training still in limbo. Now, for truckers, leadership changes can mean stalls or shifts, and Kammerer's exit might delay some decisions on issues you care about. Now, on the flip side, a new face might bring some fresh ideas or some headaches. The uncertainty is the real kicker here. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled on this story to see who the next acting administrator is going to be and what that means for truckers. And finally, speaking of issues that truckers deeply care about, Overdrive recently released an article detailing what truckers want DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency, to tackle in the trucking industry. Overdrive asked its readers to take a survey, and the results are out. It's interesting because on first place, with 55% of respondents saying that this is the top issue, it was all about ELDs and hours of service. On second place, 46% of respondents said that truck parking is the top issue. Then 39% said that the top issue is the temporary visas and permanent work programs for immigrant drivers. And from there, we have an issue on CDL driver training, roadside inspections, data queue reform, and new entrant safety audits. So now the question is, will DOGE or the DOT or the FMCSA actually look at these issues seriously? Nobody knows. It's another plate of wait and see what happens. So that's a wrap for this week's top stories, from tolls to scams to shakeups. But here's a question for you to kick around. Every story that we hit, not just this week, but in general in this trucking roundup, every single one, from broker transparency to the BOI filing to the truck parking issues to toll fights, it all lands on your dashboard. You are the one who is stuck with the bill, with the headache, or the wait. So what's the fix? Is it more tech, less red tape, or just somebody in Washington who has logged a mile and can actually relate to the folks in this industry? Let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining and watching today. Wishing you all a fantastic and safe rest of your weekend, and I shall see you in the next video.